This is Nick Johansson here with Castanet News, situated on the kind of the south east side of Glenmore Road, off of Long Hill Road, overlooking one of the fires that is burning in the central Okanagan right now. This is the fire that was sparked just below Clifton Road at about 9:45, 10 p.m. Thursday evening, and it quickly spread up the mountain, forcing a number of evacuations up in the Clifton Road area. We're looking down over towards the Wilden neighborhood. We're looking where the fire is actually north of the Wilden area, looking from the kind of the Glenmore Road direction. This fire blew up quite rapidly last night as the rest of the community was watching the tragic growth of the McDougall Creek fire on the west side of the lake. There's been some speculation from residents that embers came in the extreme wind conditions from the McDougall Lake fire across the lake, sparking several spot fires on the east side of the lake, the Kelowna side of the lake, and this particular, what we've been calling the Clifton Road fire, in the strong winds blew up and grew very rapidly, very quickly. Even in the morning light here, you are able to see some flames across the hill over there. A colleague of mine was speaking with an RCMP officer earlier this morning. He said that on the radio, at least, there was no reports of any structure fires here on the east side of the lake and the Kelowna side, despite this now quite large fire that's burning across the on the hill across from us here. The same cannot be said for the west side of the lake. While there's been no numbers released yet by any officials, we've seen a number of photos and videos of buildings, homes going up in flames on the west side of the lake last night. We're expecting a press conference at 10 a.m. From officials that have been battling the McDougall Creek fire, but by all accounts it was a pretty tragic night as far as structures being lost last night. I'll zoom in here. It appears we're seeing some candling of trees across the way. Again, this is just north of the Wilden neighborhood. There's been a number of evacuations starting around 10 p.m. last night, beginning with tactical evacuations, meaning generally RCMP officers coming to the door and telling people they need to leave. You generally see that when things are moving very quickly and people need to get out before the officials are able to do a proper news release, before people are able to put out a proper release for large-scale evacuations. But around 11:30, there was evacuation orders in place, and then another order being put in place at 1 a.m. Not clear right now exactly how many homes on the east side of the lake, the Kelowna side of the lake, were evacuated overnight, but it is a large number. This morning, a number of police officers were in the Magic Estates, Wilden area, closing down roads, closing down neighborhoods to keep people out of the evacuated zones. We're still trying to get a handle on where exactly traffic is being allowed in and not, but unless, I think it's safe to say that most people just need to stay away from this area. Just viewing it from this perspective, it's still very much an active fire situation. I'm going to put the microphone down for a bit here and try to zoom in on some of this fire and get a better view. So again, for those possibly just tuning in here, we are looking at this newly sparked Thursday night fire from just off Long Hill Road, east of Glenmore Road, looking across the valley towards the Wilden Estates area on the left side of your screen. And this fire that's come over the hill through the night, over from the Clifton Road area, but it's since crested the hill and is burning down towards Glenmore Road, below it there. This is one of several fires that was sparked late last night as thousands of people had their eyes peeled on the McDougall Creek wildfire on the west side of the lake. It's presumed that embers in the extremely strong winds were blown across the lake and landed on the east side of Okanagan Lake, sparking at least three separate fires. This is one of them that appears to have grown quickest and the largest, as you can see on the screen now. According to the BC Wildfire Service, 2 other fires were sparked last night, one just north of McKinley Landing and one just west of Winfield. Speaking to the Emergency Operations Center last night, it was a pretty fluid scene, as you can imagine, but they said multiple spot fires had been sparked on the east side of the lake. It appears that the one we're looking at now, starting below Clifton Road, is the largest of the fires that were sparked last night, as it's grown east towards Glenmore Road, which is what we're looking at right now. In the morning daylight, the fire is a lot less dramatic than it looks at night. Those in the community who were out last night watching the fire, both on the west side and this Clifton Road fire, it's quite a dramatic scene when darkness falls and the flames are very visible. But even in the daylight, you can still see flames across the valley here in the above Glenmore. We're expecting a press conference at 10 a.m. An update on the McDougall Creek fire and what occurred last night on that fire. At this time, I'm not sure if there'll be updates as well on this Clifton Road fire we're currently looking at, but I assume there will be some updates on how that went. I said earlier, a colleague of mine spoke to an RCMP officer earlier this morning who said, according to their radio chatter, there hadn't been any reports of structure fires on the east side, the Kelowna side of the lake, due to this fire last night. Obviously, that's unconfirmed at this point, and we'll try to have more information of that as the day moves on. That same news cannot be said for the west side of the lake. We don't have any numbers at this point, but we've seen multiple photos and videos of homes, structures along West Side Road, it appears, that were destroyed by flames during last night's growth of the McDougall Creek fire. We'll hopefully have a better understanding on what exactly occurred last night and how many homes were impacted later this morning. Keep an eye on castnet.net for that 10 a.m. press conference. Just hearing now that an additional evacuation order has been issued for this Clifton area fire. Not entirely sure on the details of where that new evacuation is taking place in, but just goes to show that this fire is still growing and still threatening homes in the area. I'm seeing now that the newly issued evacuation order is for the Shaler area, for homes on Shaler Road, Shaler Court, Shaler Place, and a private lane between Shaler Court and Shaler Road. For those evacuating, a reception center has been opened at Prospera Place in downtown Kelowna, where evacuees can register. Late last night, Prospera was opened for evacuees, for those with no place to go for overnight sheltering. The extreme winds we saw last night played a large role in the rapid growth of fires on both the west side and the east side of the lake. You could see the fire growing extremely quickly as the winds tore through it last night. Those winds continued through the evening, and we're seeing the winds pick up a bit here this morning as well. About 24 hours ago, fire officials were calling for this cold front moving through the area, coming from the north, and that transition between the high pressure system we had over the past few days with that cold front moving through has caused extremely fast winds and erratic directions that's impacted these fires and really whipped them up and caused that rapid growth we saw last night. For those flying in or out of the Kelowna area, just hearing now that YLW is experiencing delays both on incoming and outgoing flights, delays and cancellations. Those with flights today, I've been urged to check the YLW webpage for updates, as both the wildfires and the smoke in the area is causing them disruptions. Again, we're hoping for more information throughout as the morning carries on here about details of what exactly occurred last night, both on the west side of the lake and on the east side of the lake, and how many homes have been impacted. Keep an eye on castanet.net throughout the morning, through the afternoon, into the evening for updates, and we'll have those up as soon as we have any information. Again, this has been Nick Johansson with Castanet News, looking across Glenmore Road up north of Wilden at the large fire that's grown from Clifton Road overnight